Hello people and welcome back to Nico Plays Noita. 17458776649. Another day, another run, and I thought I could talk about what happened with me and my herniated disc around 7 months ago. This is something that I kind of wanted to share at some point, so why not now? So we moved to this new house about a year ago, been a little over a year. And of course we started renovating it right away to make it our own. It's kind of a weird feeling to buy a house and then there's all the old memories of the previous owners, all the old wallpapers, old paint. You wanna get rid of it. So amongst the rooms, one was this office where I'm right now, and I started renovating this, of course, to make it feel like a home. Started renovating the office space, and the last thing that I had to do was to bring in a countertop. Basically, it would work as a table. That had a weight of about 70 kilograms. That's I think around 140 pounds, something along those lines. Carried it in with my wife. Didn't have too much problems. I knew I had a bad back. I've had a bad back for so long I can remember. It's always, doesn't matter what I do, mow the lawn, whatever else, shovel some snow, hell, even vacuum around the house. My back will it will indicate to me that, hey, I'm here, and I'm kinda fucked. That's, there's usually a little pain at the lower back on the left, on these minor tasks that I do around the house, and it's been ongoing for probably more than 10 years. I've always had a bad back, my father has a bad back. Probably genes, it's just a bad back. But I never thought too much about it. I was just like, it's a mild inconvenience. That's basically what it was to me. A mild inconvenience, and I always got over it. It was just, the pain would last a little while and would go away. So we brought in the countertop. That's probably the heaviest thing I've ever lifted. Granted, my wife was helping. But you have to keep in mind that was still 70 kilograms. That's a hell of a lot for me. I never usually don't lift anything. And I probably don't know how to lift anything correctly. So, of course, you've heard the advice. Always lift with your back while doing twisty motions. Yeah, funny joke, right? But probably exactly what I did. I didn't feel anything at first. Everything was fine. We made the final adjustments to the office space, everything was fine, everything was done. Basically everything was done. Next day I had to change the tires to my car because I think winter was over. So time to change in the summer tires. Heard a little snap in my back when I was lifting the tires. No pain or anything, it's just a small snap. I was like, huh, that was weird. 2 days go by, I wake up, everything's still alright. After about 2 hours, I started to get huge pain in my lower back, on the left side. I had to go lie down, I was lying on the bed. I could barely move at this point, the pain was so bad I was almost shouting, crying in pain. I'm probably leaving out. There were multiple doctor visits, I can't even recall them anymore, like how many there were actually, but you get the idea. So for 2 days I was lying mainly on my stomach, because that was the only way I could lie down. The pain in my back was something that I never felt before. Some women who have given birth and also had a herniated disc, they've said that the disc is worse than giving birth. You can imagine how fucking badly that hurts. It was the worst pain in my life. Worst pain I've ever felt. It was god awful. There was a point where I no longer could... I could no longer move. I could no longer... I basically gave up. I was just lying there like doing nothing. Screaming in pain, crying. I wanted to shoot myself in the head. Without exaggeration, I wanted to kill myself. I've never felt anything so bad. I've had an abscess in my tooth, that's nothing. When you get a really bad herniated disc, the pain is really something else. I called an ambulance. They came and they gave me some pain medication straight to my veins. After 2 hours, well, first they told me if it doesn't help, call us again. 2 hours pass, no help. Basically it just got worse and worse. So in the early morning, called them back. They brought me to the hospital in an ambulance. Went there, they gave me some more pain medication. That didn't really help. Like almost not at all. Oh, that's a tricky spot. Don't want to go in the portal. So that didn't help me at all. Basically not at all. So there was a doctor there that I've seen before. Don't really like her. And I knew this is gonna suck, because I knew she wouldn't take it seriously. She was just like, well, yeah, you just lifted something badly, just walk it off. And I'm like, I can barely go to the toilet on my own. I had to, the nurse had to walk me to the toilet, it was that bad. So, but they sent me home, because there was nothing else they could have done. They gave me the pain medication and it didn't help, so just go home. I guess that's fine. Didn't like the doctor, needless to say. Got home, got no pain medication at all. Nothing. I got nothing from that visit. So then we made a call to the back to the ER about, like, is there anything we can do? Because this pain is killing me, literally, I want to die. So the person at the other end, another doctor, was like, they didn't give you any pain medication? Like, was there a reason why they didn't do that? And we just said, we don't know. They just didn't give me any. She was a bit upset, perplexed. Why didn't they give me anything? And she phoned me some medication. Basically, that my wife could get for me. Over the phone, did all of that. That was good. Got some opioids, actually. And some very strong pain medication. After taking those, let's say a few hours, most of the pain was gone. I was pretty alright. I could still just lay down. I could do nothing else. I was just laying down. So it didn't take all of it out. Probably it was so bad that it probably couldn't do that anyway. So I was just lying there. But then it all changed. In a matter of an hour. The pain just went away. It's been another day at this point. So suddenly the pain just goes away. Like in a heartbeat, the pain is just gone. Then I start to feel this weird trickling or twitching in my leg. Like the nerve is having some kind of a complication or something. Like sometimes when your eye is twitching, that kind of thing, but on my leg. So it ran from the buttock straight to the small toe. Or little toe. On the outer side of the leg. It was twitching probably for a day. And when it stopped, I realized that my leg was numb. I had pretty much no feeling in it at all. I had enough of a feeling in it that I could still walk. But if you want to imagine how I was walking around, picture Dr. House. That was how I was walking for a pretty long time, actually. So my leg was now numb, but the back pain was gone. This still meant that shit like toilet visits, that was really difficult. And I didn't really, like, even trying to sit down on the toilet, that took me probably half an hour when it was the worst. So that was just a small part of it. So then I went to the doctor again, different doctor, and I said, this has happened, what do you think it is? They were just like, well, you lifted too much, it's sciatica, it'll go away. And then I said, well, what are we gonna do with the leg? It's like completely numb. He just said, well, it'll go away, it'll be fine. I was kind of doubting this, went back home. And I do have to mention the car rides to get to the doctors every time, that was a pain. Because it's a half an hour drive, we live in the middle of the woods. And a half an hour drive to the city, I had to actually recline the seat in the car completely down. So I could even imagine getting into the car. So that was fun. It's always a pain, getting in the car, getting out of the car. The pain would strike in those moments, even though it was basically gone anyway. But I guess quick shifts in your posture would still aggravate it and bring the pain back. I didn't really believe this doctor. Well, I was perplexed. Why is my leg numb? Like, what has happened? I started to look online. I had nothing else but time. I was lying in my bed. This was all that I could do. So I was researching the facts. And I found out that maybe I have a herniated disc. And I even was thinking that maybe it's the absolute lowest disc, because that's what the symptoms match. Numbness in one leg, and going from the outer side, from the buttocks to the small toe. Yeah, that's basically the lowest possible disc that's been herniated. I was like, alright, so maybe it is that. But they would not refer me to any kind of scans, any kind of... They just didn't refer me to anyone or anything. No studies were done. So I'm not sure why they didn't do any research. I guess they just thought, hey, it's sciatica, it'll go away. So based on my research, I wanted to get an MRI done. They just didn't refer me. I went to the MRI on my own. That cost me not much. I found a place that does them relatively cheap. Was not a fan of MRI. You have to go in the tube. Your whole body has to be in that small tube, and they take a lot of pictures. Takes about a half an hour. I wasn't sure how I was gonna react, so I basically drugged myself so that I would be kinda out of it. I had the opioids, I had the other shit. So I was kinda out of it, was in the tube. That wasn't too bad, it's actually pretty good. I was listening to radio, whatnot. Took about probably 20 minutes. Got the pictures done. A few days later they say, hey, here's what we found. And yeah, basically a herniated disc. The absolute lowest disc, like I thought. That has been herniated to the left side, which is now compressing the nerve that goes to my leg. At this point, went to the doctor again, showed them the pictures, showed them the research that I've done, because they haven't. I got referred to a surgeon, and this surgeon would then tell me if I needed surgery or if we could just wait. The problem with waiting in a situation like this with a herniated disc and a compressed nerve is that it could lead to permanent damage. That's the problem with it. Because the longer the nerve is compressed, the bigger the chance that it will be permanent. And I didn't exactly want my leg to be permanently numb. So I went to the surgeon. This probably been like 2 weeks at this point. Maybe 3, maybe even 4 weeks. I can't really remember. Probably 3 weeks. That felt like forever, because some sources online read that, hey, you have to solve this in like 2 weeks or it's permanent. I was like, oh fuck. This was probably 3 weeks. Got to the surgeon, he was like, this is one of the biggest herniations I've seen today. And he sees them a lot, like he probably sees 20 pictures a day. He's like, this is the worst one today. Like, congratulations, this is horrible. But then he went to say, well, the disc is in such a poor condition, it's completely shredded. The liquid from inside the disc is completely spilled out. It's bad. But then he went to say that if you do surgery on it, it's gonna get worse. There's not much he can do. But he also said that I'm very lucky. Basically what he tried to say is that in a year I might be the symptoms might be gone. So, he says, he just said, just wait. Your leg is numb now, but chances are in 6 months, a year, it'll be fine. This one is interesting, by the way. Gunpowder. Might have to bury some enemies alive. And get some kind of a flame wand, that'll be interesting. So basically, that's the end of that story. He said, let's wait a year, you'll recover. He basically told me, you will recover. But to what extent, nobody really knew. And I guess one thing I didn't mention was the power loss in the leg. I didn't really have power in the leg. I could not go on my toes. And walking was questionable. And then I tried driving at some point when I was a little bit better. And I could barely press down the clutch, because I'm driving a manual. So if you can imagine how easy it is to press down a pedal, and it was nearly impossible for me, you can imagine how much power I was losing on my leg. But fast forward maybe 2 months, 3 months, I started getting the power back. I felt the nerve twitching again. It's kind of trickling again, twitching. So I was like, okay, well, maybe the compression is finally going away. Maybe I'm getting the power back. Right now, the power is... I'm pretty sure it's fully back. I'm pretty sure. Numbness might be a couple of areas in the leg that are still a little bit numb. But for the most part, the leg feels fairly normal. Sometimes, like right now, if I've been standing a lot, or if I've been doing something other than sitting, the nerve still kinda twitches sometimes. It's kinda goes by and comes back again sometimes. That's not too bad. Sometimes I get a little bit of pain, but I just have to be careful. Basically, what the surgeon said was, don't lift anything that weighs more than a shopping bag. So that's what I've been doing. Probably gonna do that for the next year, because I don't wanna go through that again. Can you imagine all of this because I lifted something that was too heavy? Basically what the surgeon said was that my arms can lift more than my back. So just because you can lift something doesn't mean that you should. My advice for anyone who's renovating, for anyone who's lifting heavy things, if you don't know how to properly lift, just don't. And if you think something is too heavy, don't lift it. You might... There's a chance. I'm not sure if anyone has lost their legs completely to numbness, but there's a chance you could actually lose the motor skills to your legs. You could lose... Basically, you would end up in a wheelchair, is what I'm saying. Not trying to scare anyone off. I'm just saying that's a real possibility. That's what I've been told anyway. Don't quote me on that, but seeing how this went, I'm pretty sure that's a possibility. That can happen. I would fucking hate that to happen to anyone. I'm lucky that I got my leg back. I was also extremely stupid trying to lift something that was too heavy. I knew it was too heavy when I was lifting it, but I still wanted to do it, because I still wanted to do it. Because I wanted this space to be done. I wanted my office to be done. Sure, I completed my office, but what a cost. Like 3 weeks laying in bed. 4 weeks, almost 4 weeks without no answers of my future. The pain. It's something that I've never felt before. I don't know what it feels like to get shot. But I can't imagine this was too far off. Or stabbed. This was just... Because it's nerve pain. It is the worst pain you can have. Something to do with your nerves. So if you really need to lift something, please let somebody teach you how to lift things correctly. Don't just lift things. If it's too heavy, you could literally end up the same way I did. Now, what's important about this is that now that I know that this is a problem for me, I should strengthen my back. And right now would be a good time to start doing that. You don't wanna... And the difference is with sciatica and herniated disc, people often say, well, back pain, you don't want to be lying down, because it's back pain. It'll get easier if you start walking around as soon as possible. It's still kinda true. You want to move around as soon as you can. Don't run. But when it's painless, you can start walking around, but don't, with like herniated discs, don't overdo it. Don't do stretches. Stretching that compressed nerve is the last thing you should be doing. And this is from basically people in this field told me, never stretch anything. If you have a herniated disc, you're gonna make it worse. The nerve is compressed. No amount of stretching is gonna make that go away. Because basically what happens is that you got the disc in your spine, or, well, I'm not a doctor, I don't know where the hell it is, but basically near your spine you got the disc, and when it herniates, it pushes out of its hole, and it pushes the liquid out of it. That's what is causing the pain, and it can spill left, right, and I think it can even spill to the center area, but mine spilled left, and that's why I lost the feeling to my left leg. So that is basically what's pushing on the nerve, the actual spillage that's happening in there. So stretching is not gonna do anything. At some point you kind of want to start stretching, but that's only months and months after the incident. You know, if you stretch it, you're gonna make it worse. Because there's nothing to stretch. People always go, well, okay, I need to stretch now because it's all, my leg's all fucked up. Don't do it. That's my advice for you. Don't lift anything too heavy. Don't stretch if you already have a herniated disc. And don't necessarily believe the doctors and what they tell you. If you really think you have something worse going on, do the research online. There's a bunch of YouTube videos about it. There's a bunch of articles. Get checked. Get the MRI, even if it costs you. Get it and get checked. Some people say, well, you don't want to do the MRI because it might find other things bad with your back, and then you always have that scapegoat. Well, there's all kinds of problems in my back and I can't really do anything about it. I didn't feel that way. I wanted to get answers, and no matter what else I would find in my back that I could blame some other things on, I didn't really care. Nothing else pretty much was found, some normal things, and I'm happy I got it done. I got the answers I was looking for, and I knew what was going on. That was important for me. But never did I imagine that doing something like this would affect your legs. Like, have you ever even thought about it? You lift something heavy and you could lose the ability to use your legs? That is not something I even knew about. Obviously, if I had known that, I would have been more careful. But life teaches you lessons. This was one of my lessons that I got. Interesting one indeed. Not something that I was expecting, and at this point I'm glad I'm doing as well as I am. Knock on wood. It's kind of feeling achy sometimes. Like right now I can kind of feel a small ache. But I've been kind of doing things that I probably shouldn't be. I've been wanting to get back to renovating things. I have to take it slow. Painting the walls, take it slowly. Don't go up and down all the time. Shit like that. To keep it. I need more rest on it. Basically, what I'm trying to say here. Rest is the key. If they told me it's gonna take a year to heal, I should take it carefully for at least a year. And what comes next is probably some strengthening exercises. I'm gonna have to go get a professional. They should teach me how to do proper stretching at this point, if there is even stretching to be done, and how to make my back stronger. That is one of the key points. If this happens to you, it's most likely because either you lift a lot, you lift too many heavy things, or you just sit down in front of your computer all day and do nothing. And then when you go and lift something, that's enough, because your back has no strength, you have no core strength. That's what you need. If you don't have that, it's gonna get worse and worse until, well, this happens. So that is the sciatica, but I like to call it a herniated disc. That's basically what it is. Sciatica is just the symptoms of it. That is basically what happened to me around 7 months ago. I'm 31 years old now. Didn't want to get the surgery, and luckily the surgeon was like, "Hey, we can't really do it." So that was a positive thing. Basically a positive thing. It could have gotten way worse. Maybe the numbness would have just been there. Maybe without surgery, I would still be numb on my leg. I would still have pain. But it's a lot better now. We'll see what the future holds, but I guess just take it with a grain of salt, what the doctors tell you. I think that's important. I'm trying to think about the wands here at the same time. I'm kind of looking for a gunpowder wand and then something to set it on fire with. I'm trying to brain power two things at the same time, but I'm basically done with my story. That's the story of my herniated disc. What a fucking pain, I'll tell you. Look at this though. It's a very interesting one, and I've never seen something like this before. I don't think this is necessary. So if you got any similar stories, or you want to share your tips and whatnot, let me know what happened to you, if you got similar stories on your back. And one tip that I can give you, if your back is already hurting when you do various things around the house, various things are at work, get it checked. Do something about it before it's too late. If your back is hurting every day, it's probably gonna burst at some point. Not saying it will, but there's a chance that it will. At some point it's just gonna pop. It can't take the stress anymore. It's basically giving out. And I really should be whipping myself and get some professional help strengthening the back so it doesn't happen again. I really don't want that to happen again. Of course, being overweight can also contribute to the fact. If your stomach weighs a lot, you have like a basketball in there that can twist your back in various ways. You want to lose weight, get that sorted out. Things you want to avoid if you easily get a herniated disc, or if you already have one, is basically running and jumping and all kind of things that basically tap onto your spine. So all kinds of well, you can imagine what your spine goes through when you jump and land. Landing is the bad part, because you're inducing stress in a quick manner to the spine. Alright, so that is the herniated disc. Now it seems like we're in trouble. God, a lot of enemies here. For once we have a cool wand. Can't wait to use it. Got the homing attack on it. But this seems overly dangerous. We already got a pretty open area here. Not sure what I'm gonna do with this. We'll see. Recharging, bit of a problem. A lot of crap coming my way. Oh my goodness. Already missing most of my health. This is probably the run here, to be honest. We're getting cornered. This would have been so fun. I mean, we had a nice synergy going on, gunpowder and the flames. Would have been nice to use it, but no, this is not gonna happen. The game just ended my run. The game said no, alright, but that's actually a perfect timing what comes to story. Please take care of yourselves. Alright, fuck off.